Hi, this is Dominic Pace, who plays Gekko the Bounty Hunter from The Mandalorian, and you are listening to Star Wars Comics in Canon.
And so brings the first episode of 2022. But my friends, this is not going to be like the standard episode because, well, my throat's quite bad. You may be able to hear it, so I can't record for a whole hour with the new episode. So next week, I'll be doing the first full proper episode of 2022, and I will be tackling the first volume of the High Republic comics by Cavan Scott. They're set like 200 years before the prequel trilogy, so quite excited to tackle those. Obviously, I've been doing book reviews for them already, but I'll get into all of that next week. But this week, guys, I'm releasing 2 episodes from my Patreon on this feed for you lovely people. So if you weren't already aware, you can go over to patreon.com/Genuine Chit-Chat, and over there, if you contribute as little as £1 a month, you get access to the Patreon exclusive audio feed. You'll get a link that you can put in your podcast player of choice, or you can just listen on the Patreon app or on the desktop version of Patreon. And in essence, I release a new show there every single week, and I normally do them with Megan. So at present, there's, I think, nearly 70 episodes of Afterthoughts themselves. I also release episodes of Genuine Chit-Chat on there, but when I split the episodes into part 1 and part 2 on the main feed of Genuine Chit-Chat, I release them in one full unsplit episode when part 1 drops, so you get early access to those things. In addition, you get these exclusive Afterthoughts episodes, which aren't really released anywhere else, apart from these specific occasions where I need to release an episode, but I can't for whatever reason. And there's loads of things that we've done Marvel stuff. We're currently going through all the Harry Potter films. We've done all the Star Wars films bar Rise of Skywalker, which we will be doing soon as well. We've done films out in the cinema that we've seen. For Halloween, we did horror films. We did 2 Christmas movies at Christmas. We've done quite a wide variety of things, and we've done a few series as well. So if you want to hear like a movie review show about new movies, which are spoiler-free, or older movies or series that aren't necessarily, and they're only like 10 to 20 minutes long generally. And in addition to that, me and my girlfriend and Megan often go on road trips and stuff together, where we record normally in the car with one of our phones and talk about the trips we've been going on. We've been to the Lake District and Manchester and Scotland and a few other places as well. And also I do the occasional reviews of comics I read that are not Star Wars related, and I've also started releasing a couple of Star Wars book reviews on there as well, which are not the same structure as the High Republic book reviews I've been doing, but they're still like 15-20 minutes long. I did the Clone Wars era novel Dark Disciple. I've recorded one for Shatterpoint, which is a Legends novel, which I haven't tackled any Legends stuff on this show apart from a little bit here and there. And I'm also just finishing off the canon novel with Han Solo and Lando called Last Shot as well. So lots of reasons to go over there. If you want Star Wars content, there's loads over there, but it's a lot of non-Star Warsy stuff as well. So it would really help if you did contribute to the show. But in this week specifically, it is 2 episodes that have taken from my Patreon, which I released a while ago. It's me and Megan talking about Solo, and me and Megan talking about Rogue One. As I said, we have already released episodes of the original trilogy. The prequel trilogy, I think I released a little while ago, sort of middle of the year in 2021. And also we have recorded ones for The Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and we will be doing one for The Rise of Skywalker as well. So if you want to contribute to the show financially, because obviously I do this show and Genuine Chit-Chat completely for free, and if you also want to get additional content, there's hours and hours and hours of it, and early access to stuff and other stuff for the higher tiers as well, please consider checking out my Patreon. Link to that is in the description. But yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. I just want to clarify that the structure of when me and Megan are talking isn't quite as edited or well put together in a sense. It's just me and Megan having a conversation about Star Wars movies, and sometimes we go off on tangents and things, so just be prepared for that. It will be Solo first, and then you'll know when it ends, and then it'll be Rogue One, but I will not be back at the end of that, because obviously I've said next week is going to be the High Republic stuff. So next week, when my voice is recovered and things, I'm releasing a full standard episode, and then, normally in the outro, I generally waffle, rather than what I'm doing now, which is in the intro. But yes, that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you, as always, for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you, and, may the Force be with you, as per always, and I really hope you enjoy these Afterthoughts episodes, and I hope that you would consider supporting me on Patreon for as little as £1 a month, which I think is like $1.50 or something like that, for hours of additional content. Anyway, thanks again, guys. Speak soon. Hello there, and welcome to Star Wars Comics in Canon, your guide to the wider Star Wars canon through the comic book lens. And to take you on this journey, I'm your host, Mike Burton.
And here we are again.
This time it's with Solo.
Yes, so we just watched Solo, a Star Wars story. It is the second anthology movie being released of Star Wars that's not in the main
episodes.
What do you think of Solo, Megan?
It's alright.
How many times have you seen it now? Is it third?
This is my third time, yeah.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, it's alright.
How do you think it ranks against the other 3 movies we have watched thus far?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how does it rank against Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith?
I think I prefer it to Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd either match it to Attack of the Clones or slightly above it. Just because I hate everything.
Well, you hate Anakin and Padme.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was it's an alright movie. Like, it's not a bad film by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that it's not that memorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, I know we literally just finished watching it. I already don't really remember what happened. Like, it just kind of not that much really happens in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like it. I don't mind it.
I feel like I would describe it as the Ed Sheeran of Star Wars.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I know everyone generally likes Ed Sheeran, but few people absolutely proper love. Like, Ed Sheeran is not that many people's absolute top favourite artists. Most people just quite like Ed Sheeran. I can't describe Ed Sheeran just like a chicken korma. Everyone likes a chicken korma, but if it's their favourite curry, they don't really have the best taste in curries. And that's how I feel.
A matter of your opinion.
It is, and it's just one of the comparisons I draw. It's just, Solo is the chicken korma of Star Wars. It's very inoffensive. It's got some cool parts in it. It's quite accessible, but it doesn't really take any risks.
I do think it would have done a lot better had it not have come out 6 months after the previous movie. Like, because I know that you said that it didn't do very well in the box office. I don't think it's a bad film by any stretch of the imagination, so I think it should have done better. But I think that is partly down to the fact that there were 2 Star Wars films. Because what was the one that came out before this?
Last Jedi.
Right, and that film's shit, so...
No, it is not.
that film's
film is
crap.
amazing.
That film's rubbish, so, like, it would kind of make anyone be like, well, I don't really want to watch the next one, because...
Well, that's the problem. The Disney marketing execs were idiots, because they basically said, hey, let's have a Star Wars film every December for, several years, and people are like, oh, cool, Star Wars, watch it at Christmas, get the family, and they're like, hey, after probably the most divisive Star Wars film ever made, Last Jedi, let's release a film about Solo, a character that no one has ever asked for a film about, 6 months later, when already people are starting to get fatigued by Star Wars, and then let's have it so people have to wait a year and a half until they get Rise of Skywalker. It's like, why did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, another thing with this movie is that, first of all, I want to know what happened to Qi'ra.
Yes, a lot of people do.
And secondly, like, Darth Maul is in it for all of, like, a minute.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they talk about Crimson Dawn, but you don't know that much about Crimson Dawn. Like, again, it's the same thing that you have to watch, like, the Clone Wars series and you have to watch Rebels to get a better idea as to what the fuck is going on, where they're just throwing around these, like, they're like, ooh, the Crimson Dawn, ooh, but they don't say anything about it apart from that it's this, like, huge organization. And then you see Darth Maul, and those people that, like, haven't watched the Clone Wars series are like, but he got chopped in half.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I mean, even with the Clone Wars series, the fact that Maul didn't die is so goddamn far-fetched. He literally got sliced in half. So even with the Clone Wars series, like, you're like, okay, that's a bit weird, but sure. But then if you haven't seen the animated series, you then get to this film and you're like, wait, he got sliced in half at the beginning. How is he the leader of this Crimson Dawn organization? And also, what the fuck is Crimson Dawn? They don't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I have a feeling when they made Solo, they were planning on making either a Solo 2 or even making a Solo trilogy, because there was actually, in Legends, there was a Solo trilogy of books.
Right.
And in one of them, I'm pretty sure, this might be wrong because I'm not as up to scratch with Legends, but I'm pretty sure certain elements of it, like some of them explain how he got the Falcon. I think the Kessel Run, I can't remember if that's mentioned, but I think him meeting Chewie is in there. So I think they use certain elements of the books, but there are 3 books, and they are 3 of the most popular Legends books. And so I think they were probably thinking, oh yeah, we can make a whole spin-off franchise, about Solo. And then they released it, and then it did pretty bad at the box office. Most of the reviews for it have been, it's pretty good, but it's not amazing. And I agree.
It's a standard film. It's just alright.
Well, that's why I say it's the chicken korma of Star Wars films. Because it's no one hates a chicken korma. But the thing is,
unless you don't like curry.
Yeah, but if people who don't...
Also, this is a very niche
no, because people who
comparison.
People who don't like curry are wrong, okay? Anyone who says they don't like curry is wrong. That's fact, because you can't... Curry isn't a flavour. curry is such
Oh my
a...
god, we're not going off into a curry rant.
No, but it's true that it's if you said you don't like soup, that makes sense because soup is liquid and some people don't like consuming that. I understand that, even though you get in different flavours. Curry is literally, I'm pretty certain it's just Indian for the word sauce. So saying the word, or that might be masala, but like...
I think that is masala.
That is masala. But like, saying you don't like curry is like saying, okay, well, by that logic, I think that a korma tastes the same as a vindaloo, which tastes the same as a chicken tikka. And it's like, if you think that, you are an idiot. That is not true.
Oh my god, right. This is where Mike loses all of his Patreons because he's being rude about curry.
It's just one of those things.
But you've gone off on a tangent.
Yeah, but I know, but it's an important point. It annoys when people say they don't like curry, because the answer is you haven't tried enough curry.
Some people don't like curry, and that's that. Anyway.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Anyway, Solo's okay. It's alright. I enjoyed it, but it's not my favourite Star Wars movie by any...
No. I'm not sure if it's anyone's favourite Star Wars film.
It just doesn't hit the mark. Like, it's alright. And that's all I have to really say about it, is that it's alright. I mean... It leaves me with more questions than anything.
One of the things that Scott of 20th Century Geek actually mentioned to me, and I found it quite funny, was he said his biggest problem with Solo is that it literally does every conceivable thing about Solo you get in one film. You get his surname, which I still think is a bit jarring.
Oh, see, I didn't mind him getting that surname.
I just think it doesn't make sense, because if anyone enrolls to the Imperial Academy, then... they're going to be like, oh, you're by yourself, you're blah, 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 Solo. And
no,
also,
that's not what they were saying, though.
Who's your people? No one. But the thing is, he knew his dad, though. He says, like, halfway through the film, my dad used to fly things. So he knows his dad.
Yeah, but he said that he doesn't have a relationship with his dad.
No, he said he doesn't really like him, but...
Right, so if you don't like someone, you don't necessarily have to take their name, do you?
Well, no, but in society, you don't just get to not have a last name.
Yeah, but Star Wars society isn't the fucking same as our society. They have fucking aliens and shit wandering around. Warwick Davis is like 10,000 different characters.
He is. But he's the same character in Solo, the character Weasel that he plays, and he gets one talking line in it.
Yeah, and he sounds like he's got an Australian accent.
Yeah, because he's English, and that's what Americans always do. They think English people sound Australian.
Yeah,
because of that, you're the cause of the problem, Megan.
Yeah, whatever.
But in if you're close, in Phantom Menace, you see Warwick Davis next to, or near Jabba the Hutt at one point, getting angry when Anakin Skywalker wins. And he is the character called Weasel, and he's the same character as he is in Rogue One, in Solo. The reason I said Rogue One was because Benthic, also known as Two Tubes, is actually seen in Rogue One, and he's also in Solo, which is, he's the guy who, in Rogue One, when Bodhi the pilot gets captured, and he gets his, for the first time, and he gets his head taken off, there's that alien which has got like beige skin, sunken in eyes, and a weird shaped head. That character's name is Benthic, also nicknamed Two Tubes, and you see him as part of Emphas Nest's Cloud Rider gang. So that's a bit of fun for everyone. You're looking at me with disgrace.
Like, just trying not to fall asleep, to be honest.
Oi, none of that, okay?
Yeah, part of Inverness's gang.
Emphas Nest.
Inverness.
Inverness.
Yeah, the place in Scotland.
Yeah. Loch Ness is next. I would like to know what happened to her. But Emphas Nest, because she's not in anything else.
This is the thing about this film, is that there's so many different characters that you're just like, well, what happened to them?
Yeah, because because with Benthic, he goes into Rogue One, so he joins Saw Gerrera's partisans, which are the, like, rebel extremists.
Yeah, I forgot about Saw Gerrera. He's got that little mask thing.
Yeah, well, if you watch Rebels, it shows obviously how he gets that mask. But Saw Gerrera's partisans are extremists, so obviously certain elements of the Cloud Riders actually became that. But also, if anyone is reading or into the High Republic at the moment with the Nile, Emphas Nest's mask and things is very similar to the Nile, and there's a lot of hints that her ancestors may have been in some way connected to the Nile. The Nile are the antagonists of the High Republic, which is set 200 years before Phantom Menace, and the ranking system in the Nile, the top is the Tempest Runners, then it's the Storms, then it's the Clouds, then it's the Strikes. Well, Emphas Nest, they call themselves the Cloud Runner Gang, which is like a combination of those two things. And also they wear masks, all of them, and the Nile will wear masks as well. So that's an interesting connection. I'm not sure if they actually cleverly did that, but I think that was quite a good connection. I just feel with Solo, like, as I said before, he gets his ship, his name, his gun, his relationship with Chewie, meeting Lando, rather.
Yeah, Han met himself.
Yeah, well, he found himself. It's just like almost everything you know about, and the dice, almost everything you know about Han Solo from the films, it gets all explained neatly in one little film in a nice little bow.
What do they want? Do you want a whole fucking Han Solo saga? A whole stream of movies about Han Solo? Well, naturally, he's a bit... He's a bit of a dick, really.
Yeah, but it just seems a bit unlikely that, apart, like, the start of the film is set 3 years before the rest of it, because he escapes Corellia, then he goes and fights in the war for 3 years, and when there's a mini-series comic, Han Solo Imperial Cadet, I tackled that on Star Wars Comics and Canon, and then he goes to Mimbar, that place with all the dirt and stuff, and he's fighting in the war. But, like, from that point of him fighting in the war, literally in the space of, 3 days, he somehow manages to get every single thing you know. He gets
3 days.
From the war to the end of the film is about 3 days.
Fuck off. From the war to the end of the film, it happens in 3 days.
So thereabouts. It's not very long at all.
You're telling me that they do that whole thing with Inverness.
Emphis.
I don't give a shit what her name is. They do that whole thing with Inverness.
Emphis Nest.
And then they steal that cargo, and then they drop that cargo, and then Maeve from Westworld dies.
Sandy Newman, which is the actress's name.
And then
Val, I think it's it.
And then they go and see Vision and Daenerys.
Yeah, Qi'ra.
And then they go off. That doesn't all happen in 3 days. There's so much stuff that happens in that time. That's not 3 days.
I'm Googling this because I'm pretty certain it's not very much at all. Because it's basically... The problem is it doesn't actually give some explicit confirmation. They don't really tell you explicitly. Because I'm just reading and stuff. But it doesn't seem very long, though. You got to think like...
But they meet Lando and they do all of this stuff. I don't believe that happened in 3 days.
They don't seem to sleep in any point there.
Yeah, but they're not going to show that in the film, are they, Mike? That would be boring.
Sometimes you get that sort of thing. Maybe it isn't 3 days, but it's definitely no longer than maybe, like, at a very, very strong push, it will be a month. I think it's...
Mate, 3 days and a month of completely different time periods.
I'm trying to say... At the stretch.
You should have seen the face that he just gave me.
He's in Inverness and things. I'm trying to explain. Like, if it's 3 days or even a month, okay, regardless of whether or not it's 3 days or a month, having that amount of stuff happen to you in your life in a whole month is ridiculous.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if it's a month, that is different to 3 days.
But it doesn't... They obviously don't tell you the timing specifically, but just think about when does time pass? Like, you never see him shave. He never grows any facial hair. None of them look any different. It's not going to be a long period of time.
Maybe he can't. Some people can't grow beards.
But most of the Star Wars films, within the film, unless it says there's a time space, like movement, like it does in the middle of Solo, it says 3 years later or whatever, in Mimban, unless it explicitly says each of the Star Wars films takes place over maybe a couple of weeks. Last Jedi, I think, it literally takes place over like 2 days.
Yeah, that film's shit, so...
That film's not shit. I like that far more than Rise of Skywalker, and I'm starting to almost like it more than Force Awakens.
That's because Kylo Ren is a whiny little bitch, and you love the whiny little bitches.
I don't love Anakin, though. And I don't love Luke. That's completely not true.
I love Anakin.
I don't. I like Kylo Ren.
For Anakin.
I like Kylo Ren because he's a different kind of villain. He's not just basically Darth Vader again.
Oh my god, he's so boring.
How is he boring? He's unpredictable and interesting. We're not getting on that. We'll talk about that when Last Jedi comes up.
I'm just getting the nibbles.
Yeah, you are. Get me a nibble. I mean, with Solo, I think it's good. But as you say, there's no moments in it that you go, oh, this bit's amazing. You just watch the whole film and the whole time you're like, this is good. When's the big thing happening? And then it ends and you're like, oh. Because even like the prequel trilogy, as flawed as they are, the endings of all three films are amazing. In Star Wars...
yeah, what is the ending of this film? I can't even remember. We literally just watched it.
We literally finished it about 10 minutes ago. It was... they have the sort of shootout of Dryden Voss in his place.
Yeah, he dies and they take all of the stuff back to that girl.
Infamous Nest, and Qi'ra takes the ship and goes off with Darth Maul.
Yeah, and then...
So they lets Infamous Nest have the coaxium.
Oh, and then they're going to go to Tatooine. That's how it ends.
Well, yeah.
They're about to go to Tatooine, and then they both do the hyperspace thing on together.
Yeah, but
that's
slightly.
romantic.
Yeah, well, slightly before that, they do go and win against Lando, don't they? After they catch Lando cheating.
Oh, yeah,
and that's how they get enough money to get the Falcon and whatnot. But there's loads. This is probably my 5th or 6th watch of Solo, I think, and it is good. And watching it is fun, but the thing is, it is just like, why would I wouldn't choose to watch the film over any of the others, because on the rewatch, now that I've seen all the things and I was reading the visual dictionary as we were reading it and being able to read all the little additional details, characters like L337, she's probably the highlight. Like, she is amazing, but then she dies like halfway through and it's just like, probably the most interesting character, I'd say, in the...
You said that about a different character as well. Oh, the one with all the arms, Jon Favreau's character.
Oh, the Ardinian. Oh man, I can't remember his name. But yeah, Jon Favreau's character is along with Tobias Beckett at the start, isn't he? Yeah. I remember him being an Ardenian, but I can't remember. I'm holding giving you the look, thinking I'm scratching my leg. I'm getting my phone out. Now who's giving the looks?
Maybe
now who's giving the looks, Megan?
Now you've just embarrassed.
Now who's giving the looks?
Guys, do you see what I have to put up with, or hear rather what I have to put up with? Oh, Michael.
What do you mean? His name is Rio Durant.
Rio Durant.
When he dies, it's very sad. It does.
It's not that sad.
But there's no real emotional part in the whole film. That's like, I don't know if...
Yes, because it takes apparently over the course of 3 days just... Doesn't happen over 3 days.
How long do you think it takes over then?
At least a week.
Oh my god, that happening over 3 days. How can you
I
say
am
that?
sorry, but...
week.
Oh, whatever. Turn the podcast off. I'm done. I don't know why you're laughing. I don't know why it's still recording.
So you haven't given our final thoughts yet? Our final score?
It's all right. Done. Sorted. 6.75.
What? So you like it more... Your rating system is not aligning.
My rating system doesn't have to align to anything apart from my own system.
Well, I mean, to be
because
fair,
it is my rating system.
What you said that...
I said that I preferred it to Phantom Menace, and I said that I didn't know whether I preferred it or not to
Attack of the Clones.
Which I gave 6.5.
Yeah, so you just gave it 6.75. So.
Okay, well, 6.5/6.75.
And you give... So Revenge of the Sith is winning at the moment with 7.5.
Yeah, because that film's good.
Good.
You are my brother, Anakin!
Yes.
Right, so tell me your 2 scores. Tell me your my personal score and my critically acclaimed score.
I think both are basically just probably 7.
7.
It's just it's a standard good film. It's just...
What has it got on IMDb?
6.8, I think.
Oh, right, so you're like, your system's rubbish. When actually 6.75, which is what I said, is basically the same as what IMDb says.
I mean, your system... I meant about your system because you said it may or may not... It may be even to...
Yeah, but mine might change depending on when I've watched... Yeah. Mine will change depending on when we watch the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
6.9.
6.9, okay, yeah. Because, I mean, it's a 7 out of 10 for me, Solo. Pretty standard. It's good, but...
To be honest, I just feel like with this film, they haven't put that much into it and they've just got a load of, like, big names.
Yeah.
Because there's Woody what's his surname?
Woody Harrelson.
And it's got Emilia Clarke, Donald Glover, Sandy...
Newton.
I don't know anyone else.
Jon Favreau, you know him?
Yeah, well, he's fucking everywhere. He just gets his little fingers in all the pies, doesn't he?
He does, yes. He does.
Warwick Davis is in it, obviously, because he also gets his little fingers in all the pies.
Warwick Davis is in Star Wars loads, and he's also in Harry Potter loads. You just wait until we do this for Harry Potter, and then I shit all over your...
Mate, every single Harry Potter film is at least a 100 out of 10.
That is not true.
It is. You heard it here first, everyone. Harry Potter is at least a 100 out of 10 for every single movie, including Deathly Hallows Part 1.
I think Half-Blood Prince might be worse than Deathly Hallows Part 1.
I don't know. We'd have to watch them all again.
Yeah, we only watched them at Christmas, didn't we? So we're going to have to watch them all again. But the next one we're going to watch is Rogue One, I think.
Which I do remember being a great film.
Rogue One...
Don't remember what happens apart from everyone dies at the end.
Spoiler. Anyone listening to this should know by now. Rogue One's been out for ages. Rogue One is, I think, objectively probably the best of all the new Star Wars films, but personally, I may prefer Force Awakens or Last Jedi.
Whoa, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to reevaluate.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes. But you know what I do? We're trying to do at the end of each episode.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Say
how we feel about the next film, then we see how we feel after we watch it. I feel
like we're getting ahead of ourselves.
You are so annoying. Proper on one tonight, aren't you? That's what you normally say to me.
You didn't even say any words then.
I said, you're proper on one tonight, aren't you?
It's because I've not been feeling well and I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So all of the the last couple of days where I've not been feeling great, all of the like annoying like traits have been subdued. And now that I'm starting to feel better, they're like rising to the surface. I know.
I've been taking care of you the last 2 days and stuff, and then it's like, oh, I feel a little bit better. Jabby McJabberson around Michael. Get under his skin. Anyway, yeah. Solo is the chicken korma of Star Wars films, and it's pretty good. The next one, all right. The next thing we're going to be watching here is Rogue One. I don't know. I'm trying to think what the next thing I'm going to be releasing as the non-Star Wars. I'm trying to do alternate things. I'm trying to do Star Wars and then not Star Wars. I think it's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Great film.
I think we didn't give it a very high rating. We gave it a pretty low rating. So
Great film. One of the greatest.
it's probably the worst rom-com I've ever seen.
Do you know what? I think it might actually be the best film ever made.
Really. It's better than all Harry Potter films.
Yeah. That How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, at least a 200 out of 10.
I remember how excited you were to show me that film, and then we watched it, and you're like, it's not that good.
Yeah, it's not.
No, Matthew McConaughey is charming, and that's about it.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you, as always, for listening. I love each and every one of you for supporting the show. It means the world to me. Megan could take it or leave it, but she doesn't really care.
What?
About the guys supporting the show.
Oh, sorry, I zoned out. I stopped listening when you started doing the outfit. I love all of your support, everyone. All of your support for Michael. Well done. Thank you. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the listens. Thank you for the love, to be honest. So,
Wow. That sounded like a really bad apology. You know when a celebrity does something wrong and they have to give an apology?
I'm sorry I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'm sorry my penis went into that woman. that kind of thing, yeah?
You sound like the Bill Clinton apology. Anyway, yeah, Solo. You think it's so funny.
And so here we are with another Afterthoughts.
We are here with another Afterthoughts. And we're back on that Star Wars hype. We've watched Rogue One a month ago? It was ages ago. We watched it.
A month ago?
How long ago was it?
I don't know.
It was quite a while ago we watched Rogue One, wasn't it? Oh,
No, we watched it the other day.
was it?
Yeah.
How long ago was the other
You're
day?
thinking about Solo. We watched Solo ages ago.
we watched Solo
Rogue One we
about
watched like within the past couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, to me, it doesn't. I don't know,
Tony.
because whenever I rewatch it, it doesn't refresh anything because I've seen it so many times. With like other films, I'm like, oh yeah, this bit I still remember. Whereas this, well, I suppose the newer ones aren't quite as. I haven't seen them as many times. I've seen the damn prequels or the original trilogy. I've seen all those films like 20 something times each, I think.
And this segment is what we call Mike Rambles.
So our film, obviously Rogue One, it's got Felicity Jones in it, Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk as K2SO. I love him. And Donnie Yen as Chirrut Imwe, who is one of my favourite characters in anything. Obviously, we've got to mention Wen Jiang as Baze Malbus. Let's just go through the whole cast.
No, don't go through the whole cast. I don't know why you've gone to do so many.
I was waiting for you to tell me to stop. It's directed by Gareth Edwards, who hasn't really... He's done other films. He's done the 2014 Godzilla movie, which I thought was pretty good. And he did a film called Monsters, which I haven't seen. So...
Monsters Inc.
No, not Monsters Inc. He did not direct Monsters Inc.
This guy, what's his name?
Gareth Edwards.
Gareth
He's
Edwards.
from England.
Gareth Edwards directed Monsters Inc., everyone.
Well, it's funny that an English guy directed... Well, not funny,
It's
but...
so funny.
I'm so funny.
To be fair, there are a lot of English actors in Star Wars. Like, there's loads of them. Like, I mean, Felicity Jones is English. She doesn't age.
True, yeah, because we watched Chalet Girl. Like,
She's meant to be like 18 or something in Chalet Girl. When they filmed it, she was like 29 or something ridiculous.
And that was
She
years
might
ago.
have even been in her 30s. Nah, she wouldn't have been in her 30s.
She would have been 30s. Yeah, Chalet Girl is not a film that I'm going to rewatch, so I won't be doing afterthoughts on it.
Chalet
'cause I
Girl.
can barely remember
Chalet
it.
Girl's like 20 out of 10, everyone.
It's not.
It's great.
Half of that, probably. No, not even half.
It's 10 out of 10. Mike, you heard it here.
Divided by 10.
10 out of 10.
No, definitely not. 10 out of 100. Oh. No, I'd probably give it like, I don't know, 6 out of 10? Maybe a 5. I think probably a 5.
Anyway, we're not reviewing that movie.
No, but just in case, guys, you want to know my opinion on Chalet Girl, 5.5.
No one does.
Everyone loves Chalet Girl. It's Tony's favourite film.
Everyone listens to the afterthoughts, from my opinion.
Probably. They get enough of mine on everything else that I have my fingers in. So, Rogue One. Well, I meant like, you know, guesting.
I understand.
Okay, well, just the way I put it, you weird little face. But yeah, so Rogue One. Had you seen it before we started dating, Rogue One?
Yes, Did I? Yes, I did. I saw that one in the cinema.
Right, okay. Yeah.
I saw it in IMAX
And I assume at the time you didn't really understand what the
in
hell's going on.
London, on Leicester Square specifically.
But do you remember much about it when you first saw it?
I don't know. I've now seen it 3 or 4 times, so I don't remember in comparison to the first time I watched that film. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the cinema. I think I went with my mum and my brother.
Yeah, I know they went and took you to see The Last Jedi where you had to see The Force Awakens.
Yeah, because I was meant to see The Force Awakens, but unfortunately I had a bout of diarrhea, everyone, so I couldn't go up to London to go and watch the movie with them.
That was in 2015, obviously.
So
That was 6 years ago.
I was very ill.
But yeah, and I think that them showing you The Last Jedi without making sure you've seen Force Awakens first is so bad.
I mean, I don't like The Last Jedi that much anyway, but watching that without having seen the previous one, I was like, I literally don't understand anything that's going on.
It is the most direct sequel of all the films that you could watch. I think even if you watch like Return of the Jedi, it would probably make more sense than Last Jedi.
What about Rogue One to Episode 4? That's like...
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, you don't have to have seen episode... you have to have seen Rogue One to have seen Episode 4.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, you said that there's no other film that has like such quick succession into the next movie.
I meant in a way that you watch the film and that you have to see the film before it. Like, obviously, the prequels is better if you do, but you could watch Revenge of the Sith as a standalone film and you will get the gist of what's going on. Like, I think you could get that with a lot of films, but I think The Last Jedi, because it's so immediately after everything. And
I was very confused in that film.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Rogue One?
I like it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good movie. I think it's probably one of the better ones, to be honest. It's quite high up there.
Yeah, most people consider it to be the best of all the new ones.
Yeah, I like it. It's just, the thing about this film that makes me sad is that you want the ending to be different, but you know the ending can't be different. So, like, even from the beginning, you're like, well, I know that these people are going to die.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's very
and you
sad.
hope that they escape, and then you're like getting close to the end, and you're like, no, they're definitely going to die. And it's like, I don't want to watch. They're such great characters. I don't want, like, I prefer, is her name Jin? Is that what her name is? I prefer Jin to Rey. Yeah, for sure.
She's a more interesting character.
I know Jin's not like force sensitive or whatever, but
as a morality wise and her kind of arc, it's more interesting in a lot of ways, because Rey was basically just, she learnt the Force, she's always pretty good, she kind of very, 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 very slightly kind of tilted into the dark side a little bit, but then was good the rest of it, and she kind of picked up everything
I don't really
reasonably
care for Rey.
quickly, and it was just like, whereas that's why I like Kylo Ren a lot more, because he's so much more complex, there's more to him, you can see his struggle.
He's a whiny little bitch.
We'll get onto that when we talk about those
Can't
films.
stand him.
Oh, that's why you don't like Last Jedi much, because it's very much about him and Rey, and you aren't that fussed on Rey, and you don't really like Kylo Ren. So
Speaking of Kylo Ren, actually, I haven't told you this yet.
Exciting stuff.
Today in Spanish. So this, hello everyone, afterthoughts. I'm just going to talk about my Spanish lesson with year 8s today. So they were making party invitations, which sounds like a really lame lesson, but it's so that they could practice the future tense. So like, we are inviting you to, we are going to do this, it is going to be awesome, just to practice the future tense in Spanish.
Yeah.
So they made party invitations, and one kid made a Star Wars one. So there was a kid the other day that made a Star Wars one, and today this other one made a Star Wars one, and he drew Kylo Ren's lightsaber on it, and then he drew a blue one, which I was assuming was Luke's. Is his blue?
Yeah, it would be Anakin's. It would have been Anakin's that then Rey had when she battled Kylo Ren. So it was Anakin's, then it became Luke's, but Luke obviously lost it in Empire Strikes Back and has his own green one.
So I was like, oh right, I was like, is that Kylo Ren's lightsaber? And he was like, oh my god, ma'am, how did you know that? He was like, that's so cool that you know that. And I'm like, is it cool though?
If you knew my boyfriend, there's no way to not know.
Also, he's in my tutor group, so he knows that I like my water bottle has Star Wars stickers on it. But so I spoke to a 12-year-old or 13-year-old about
he knows what's up
about Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren is amazing. I love him. I wish there was more of him, but there's just the comic miniseries that is excellent that I recommend to everyone, and the sequel trilogy. But
anyway, Kylo Ren's not in this film.
No, fortunately not. But Rogue One, I think
he wasn't even born yet.
No, he wasn't. He gets conceived in Return of the Jedi in the Forest of Endor, episode 6.
Where all the Ewoks are?
Yeah, that's where he gets conceived.
That's gross.
It gets confirmed in the Bloodline book.
Oh, no.
It later describes like under the stars, so they're all by themselves. They found themselves like a nice...
surrounded by loads of little bears.
So I think they found themselves a nice spot, and it was just under the midnight stars. It was really romantic and that sort of thing. And that's where... And then he was born in Chandrila, which is where Mon Mothma is from.
Mon Mothma. She's part of the Senate, isn't she? She's got like a brown bob.
Bridget Ginger, like redheaded.
Oh, yeah, but she's got like a short haircut, and she normally wears like a white dress.
Yes, yeah. She's in Rogue One. She's in this film.
I don't remember in this film. I'm thinking of her in Rebels.
Obviously Rebels is set just before this, like a couple of years.
Yes, they're on the shippy bit, aren't they? Mm-hmm. With all the buttons. Mm-hmm. Is that where they drive the ship?
The front, it would be called the bridge.
Yeah, so the bit with all the buttons.
Okay, right. Well, Mon Mothma's in this film as well. There's lots of cool connections in Rogue One to lots of other places. Bail Organa pops up in it, and he says about,
he's like there for like a second.
Yeah, but he says he'll get someone to send a message to try and get someone.
Oh, someone I trust.
Someone I trust, a message.
And we're like, oh, it's Leia!
Yeah, and he was talking about going to get Obi-Wan, which is quite a funny thing. And imagine if she'd actually gone there and hadn't been intercepted by Darth Vader, then they would have probably gone straight to Alderaan, and then the Death Star plans and all of them would have actually got blown up. So
whoa, can you imagine everyone?
If Darth Vader hadn't pursued them,
If Darth Vader hadn't have pursued them, huh?
But, yeah, Rogue One, I think it is probably the best of the sequel trilogy. I think I may prefer...
I don't know if I prefer Rogue One to Force Awakens, but I think it's because I've only seen The Force Awakens... Twice, yeah. So, I don't know, because we've also still got like 3 more movies until we even get to The Force Awakens. So
Yeah.
you'll be waiting a while to see whether I prefer the other one or not. But I do like Rogue One. It's probably, out of all the ones that we've watched so far, it's definitely my favourite.
Of all the prequels, you prefer it to Han Solo?
Yeah, I prefer it to Solo, yeah.
I prefer Revenge of the Sith to Rogue One, but that's because I think Order 66, that's one of those scenes where it's just like, you watch it and you want it not to happen, and when Anakin is fighting with Palpatine, and they do it in very mild spoiler alert for End of Clone Wars, a very brief, Ahsoka hears, like, has a vision sort of thing, when she's on the ship and Order 66 is happening, and she can hear the voices of Palpatine and Anakin doing it. It's just, when you hear that, it's like, no, I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I think my only thing with episode 3 is that I have a newfound respect for it, in the sense now that I've seen the Clone Wars series.
Yeah, 100%.
So if I hadn't have seen it, I don't think I'd enjoy that film as much, because I think Anakin's progression is like too quick. You don't like, there's not, he just suddenly turns. It's not actually, whereas the Clone Wars gives more context to it. So you actually see more of that like turn. But I think just with episode 3, excluding Clone Wars, I think I prefer Rogue One to it. I think because of the backstory to that, I might like episode 3 equally as much, but as a film...
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think also Rogue One, it has something in it which I absolutely adore, and when I first watched it, I wasn't too sure about it, but it was the Darth Vader hallway scene. And what I love is, very, very minor, spoiler alert, for Mandalorian Series 2, there's a certain character who comes back, and there's a scene that mirrors the Darth Vader scene. I'm sure anyone who's anything to do with Star Wars probably already knows, but I'm not going to say it specifically. But there's a scene that mirrors the Darth Vader scene with the fog and things. And I just think the Darth Vader scene in it it's such a good show of power of Darth Vader, because the thing is, you only really get to see him fight Luke, and he doesn't really, and Obi-Wan a little bit, and it's like, it doesn't really show how powerful he is. Whereas I've shown you footage of like, when I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, and you're like running up to him, and he just literally picks you up and like snaps your neck, and it's the end.
But when I played it, I beat him, so I'm the only one to have done it.
You can't even hurt him.
I did actually. I killed him.
Okay, fair enough.
So anyway, the only thing about this film that bugs me is that the fact that this movie was just made to fill a plot hole.
Yeah.
So, because obviously they're like, well, how does he know like exactly where to hit it in the Death Star, blah, 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 blah. And they obviously make an entire movie just to say, oh, here you go, there's a reason. Because it's just
funny though, isn't it? It's the weakest reason almost to start to create a film, yet it's considered one of the best in the franchise, and is considered generally the best of the new lot from Disney. It's just like, it's such a weird... It fills me with kind of how... When I first watched it, I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this as much because I know all the characters die because they say it in New Hope. And it's just like, So I already knew that was going to happen. And so when I first watched it, I was like, it didn't appeal to me. There wasn't much stuff with the Force, all these sorts of other things, because that's my favourite thing about Star Wars. But then when I kind of got over that and watched it, I was like, no, to be fair, this film was absolutely brilliant. Like, it's not... The description that I get from people who don't like Star Wars very much and what Jar Jar does and stuff like that is too silly. It's jarring juxtaposition. That's what with the humor.
It's jarring.
Nice. It's with like The Last Jedi. The humor in that, it's a bit too silly in places. You know, the whole thing with Luke chucking the lightsaber, it's just like that bit is unnecessary. And the first time you watch it is maybe kind of like shock value or kind of funny. When Luke gets handed the lightsaber at the start and he just chucks it behind him.
In episode 8. Right, yeah.
And those sorts of bits, it's just like...
Yeah, I don't like that bit.
Yeah, and that's what that stuff is from, whereas Rogue One doesn't have that. It's all very serious, it's all very dark, it's quite an adult Star Wars film. It's got some very heavy themes. Like in the first couple of scenes, you see one of the main protagonists kill a rebel because his arm's busted and he can't escape. You know,
when they're in the like cratey bit.
Yeah, he tells him about the planet killer, and he's like, I can't get out because of my arm, and he shoots him. He has to, because otherwise he'll get interrogated, and then if the Empire they know about the Death Star, that's the end of it. So it's just like, brutal. Yeah, it's an excellent film. I think all the acting in it is top notch. I think everyone does such a good job.
What would you do if you found out that I was actually an extra in one of the Star Wars movies, and I'd never told you?
How would I find out? Would you mean you would tell me now, or like someone else found it and then showed me?
I don't know, maybe like I get a letter or like an email. You use my iPad a lot, so if I got an email being like with like another request for an upcoming Star Wars movie, you'd be like, oh Megan, I saw it, like, because they just pop up, don't they? It's not like you go through my emails.
No, of course.
But they just pop up on the screen.
When I'm reading Star Wars comics.
So,
I put it on Do Not Disturb now.
Yeah, so I've been sent an email saying that I'm going to be an extra in the upcoming Star Wars film because of my my previous experience and skills. What would you do if you found out that I had been and I'd never told you?
Well, I'd be like, first of all, can I be an extra with you? Can I come? Or at least just visit? Like, I'd die to see that place. And I'd be like, I would just be really confused why you didn't tell me. I wouldn't actually be necessarily angry. I'd probably be more sad because I'd just be like, this thing is such a big deal to me. And why have we watched this film numerous times and you've never... my question would be, why did you not bring it up? Like, what excuse could you give?
I don't know.
So I forgot. So what the...
You're welcome, everyone, into an insight into the stupid questions that I ask Mike on a daily basis.
There are often random questions that come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rogue One, or some people misspell it online, Rouge One.
Red One.
Red One, standing by. Are there any parts about this film, aside from the plot, that you weren't a fan of, or any parts that you specifically really enjoy?
No.
I like the fact that Diego Luna, or Cassian, and Geonosis don't end with a romantic thing.
Yeah, because there are a couple of, it seems as there's, hints to it at times.
I think they have a connection. I think that's what I like about it. They feel like a pull to each other in some ways.
But yeah, I'm happy that it didn't end in, oh, we have to kiss because we're about to die. They just, hug, don't they, and walk towards it.
They walk down to the beach and they sit down and watch it kind of...
destroy the planet.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't destroy the entire planet. It's
I'm sorry. I only destroyed a city, so that's okay.
Yeah, a large portion of the planet.
Ridiculous. So, what would you give it as a score?
I think 8.5.
8.5?
Well,
Jesus.
There's very few flaws in this film. If you actually think about it, the story that it was telling, the acting, the visual effects are excellent. The characters like Qi'ra Imwe, the blind monk, played by Donnie Yen. Obviously, he does all his own stunts, and I am
the Force and the Force is with me. I am the Force and the Force is with me.
Yeah, and he's just such an interesting character, and it's someone who utilises the Force that isn't a Jedi, that maybe isn't as strong with it, but can still let it guide him.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool character.
And his friend Baze Malbus, the big guy with the gun, they're sort of dynamic.
He makes me think of Jason Momoa.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Or was it maybe Jason Momoa's dad? Completely different nationalities and things, but yeah.
No, but just because he's built like a fucking brick house.
Yeah, he's big, and he's just got his gun and he's ready to go. But those two, their dynamic, I really, really like. I think all the characters in this are brilliant. K2SO is hilarious. Jyn Erso is compelling. Cassian's got a darkness to him. Riz Ahmed's Bodhi character, the pilot, he's excellent. And you get a cameo from the guy in Rizzle Kicks as well.
Yeah, because I care about the Rizzle Kicks.
I like 4 Rizzle Kick songs.
Now let's get down with the trumpets.
Yeah, that's one of them. And there's obviously Warwick Davis. He appears as the...
Yeah, but Warwick Davis is in all of them. Warwick Davis is just in every film.
He's not in all of them, but he shows up in each sort of batch of films. He's in Solo, Rogue One, Phantom Menace, and...
Did I ask?
I think... Whoa. And I think he's in the sequel trilogy somewhere.
Yeah, he's also in Harry Potter, so...
Yeah, Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis,
he plays several roles. Everything.
He rolls several roles. That's the connecting tissue for you and I.
It's Warwick Davis.
You're really into Harry Potter. I'm really into Star Wars. He played Wicket in Star Wars, and that's the big thing. You love the Ewoks, and that's
and that's what we've named our tortoise after.
Yeah, and you've got a little Funko Pop of the Wicket as well.
I do. And I also received that on May the 4th.
Yeah.
So, Star Wars Day.
Yeah, and you got the t-shirt as well.
I do.
Lot of Ewok
Save
stuff.
our forests.
Holla. Protect our forests.
Protect our forests.
And those are pictures of Ewoks. Cool. I'd give it 8.5 because I generally think it's flawless.
You don't need to. You've already explained why you've given it 8.5. You don't need to go off again.
It's not perfect. It's just that there's no heavy issues.
All right. I reckon I'd give it a 7.75.
Not an 8. You wouldn't even push for an 8. You could give me, go on, say a flaw, say some of the problems with it.
Why are you trying to force me to change my mind? This isn't a debate.
Because normally when you criticise films, you're just I like this and this and this, but I don't like this and this and this.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about full enjoyment. Thor Ragnarok, I gave
a 10.
Yeah, I did, right? Because it's a film that I could watch weekly and not get bored of it. Whereas I think with Rogue One that wouldn't happen. I think in Rogue One I would get bored.
But the thing is, films like Shawshank Redemption, you can't would you not classify that, or maybe The Godfather,
Mike,
as 10 out of 10?
That's a completely different genre of movie. So I can't give it 10 out of 10 because I don't remember them. So come on. But they're a completely different genre.
Rogue One is not the same genre as Thor Ragnarok. Rogue One
but they're still
sci-fi.
made up fiction. Unlike
other fiction.
Oh my god.
I got you.
No, but like Shawshank Redemption and like The Green Mile and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and films like that are like based on like real life, whereas flying around in spaceships going pew 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 isn't real.
So you're talking about the fantasy element of it.
Yeah.
So Harry Potter falls into that same.
Yeah. Of course it does. There's
Right.
not like
Okay,
fucking wizards flying around on broomsticks playing Quidditch.
Right,
like,
yeah, because they're all based in the sort of normal realms of our reality. I see what you're saying. It's fantasy. I think is the term you're looking for, because Star Wars is a sci-fi, but it's classed as a space fantasy as well.
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Rings. Like you don't see
Oh, yeah.
Ents walking around. Like
no, of course,
so.
not anymore. No, I see what you're saying, but like Thor Ragnarok though. You're giving that, but what about like Endgame, for example, Infinity War? Because
I need
those
to
ones,
watch them again.
yeah, but I know, but those sort of films are like top tier films. But you wouldn't want to watch Endgame like every few days.
Oh, I don't know,
That'd be
Mike.
a nightmare.
Don't start coming here and criticising my
I'm just
scoring
asking.
system. Anyway, I give this film. Okay, all right, you've swayed me. I give it a 7.8. So I've gone from a 7.75 to a 7.8.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
That is better than nothing, I guess. Okay, well, I know that this is Tony's favourite Star Wars film of the new ones. I think he said it might be one of his favourites overall in general. So shout out to you, Tony, because I know that about you. And please, other guys, let us know on Patreon or just message me or whatever. I'd be interested to know how you guys think Rogue One stacks up against the rest of the new Disney films that have been released under Disney, and also how it compares to all the other films as well. And I'll read them to Megan, and she won't care.
And I will fall asleep.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much once again for listening and supporting the show, as always. I hope you've enjoyed this, and yeah, we'll talk to you in a bit.
Bye.
The intro for Star Wars Comics and Canon is arranged by myself, Mike Burton, and the backing music was made by Eric Matias of soundimage.org.
You have just experienced host, creator, everything elser of Genuine Chit-Chat, and also the host and creator of Star Wars Comics and Canon, found on the Comics in Motion podcast, Mike Burton.